Hey everybody, how's it going? So, a while ago, I'm just scrolling through Facebook, and one of the pages I was following, the Universal Order of Ishtar, had posted this. I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. And I had to process this, because this is complete and utter bullshit. And I was like, that's it, I'm out of here. Especially, the prior posts were, how do you say, questionable? So, if you were to look into this, which I highly recommend, if you were to look into the descent of Inanna, or Ishtar's descent, it's the same story. However, there are different variations of said story. There's the big two, and one of them is in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's virtually the same story, but it's a variation. But it all leads to Ishtar being judged and killed and resurrected. This is where the myth of Ostara comes in. That Ishtar is the predecessor, I guess, to Ostara. And then later on to Jesus and Easter. But this is really more akin to Hades and Persephone. But the Simon Necronomicon has one version of the descent of Inanna, or Ishtar. It's the same goddess, interchangeable name. Just depends on the region. I prefer the Babylonian name, Ishtar. In one version, Ishtar is missing her husband, so she goes to the Underworld, and beautiful attire, makeup, everything. Now, in some versions, it is suspected that she's planning on taking over the Underworld, because when she dressed up beautifully, it was to throw the enemy off before being conquered. So when they saw her being all dressed up, they thought Ishtar was going to conquer the Underworld for her own power, her own gain. But really, she was just going down there to see her husband. Well, she kind of went arrogantly, and Ereshkigal caught wind of this, and as an insult to her arrogance, she demanded that she was stripped through all 7 gates. So when she finally got through the 7th gate, she would be humbled by being naked. So She goes through all that, and, Ereshkigal's like, why are you here? And in some variations, there's a bitter rivalry between a sibling rivalry. I've made a video on this before where Ereshkigal would be the crone energy, and Ishtar is clearly the maiden energy, because she's clearly the maiden. And I've read that Ereshkigal was jealous of Ishtar's beauty, which is not true. Through personal gnosis and all that, Ereshkigal is just, if not more, beautiful. But that's just my personal gnosis and all that. So she is tried by the 7 Anunnaki of the Underworld, which is kind of funny because if you translate the Anunnaki, it basically translates to those from the sky or the above. And it's kind of funny because the Anunnaki of the great below. So it's funny to me anyway. So she's tried for her arrogance and, in some cases, her jealousy towards her sister. So she is placed on a hook like a slab of meat and left there for 3 days. But Ishtar's assistant was like, oh, hey, she's not back yet. So, again, I want you to go read this for yourself. I want you to experience it for yourself. I want you to form your own thoughts and feelings and opinions. That's the magic of reading. So, the other variation of the story is in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Now, this placates to the other story. Ishtar sees Gilgamesh and says, hey, I think you're attractive. Let's get married. And Gilgamesh is like, no, thank you. People have a bad habit of dying around you. And Ishtar is insulted. So she's like, I'm going to make it my life's goal to destroy you. So she summons the Bull of Heaven to destroy Gilgamesh. And ends up destroying and killing a whole bunch of people and things. And I think in one version, Ereshkigal's husband was one of the victims. Her first husband, anyway, was one of the first victims. And, well, that didn't sit well with Ereshkigal, obviously. So, having no disregard for any of the destruction and death she caused prior, she goes down to the underworld to pay her respects to Ereshkigal's husband. Well, once down there, she's stripped and all of that. It's known that she caused his death. Now, Ereshkigal is carrying her husband's child. And the child will be born without a father. So she has her tried by the 7 Anunnaki and then placed on a meat hook, basically. And then we go through all that. It's the same base. 3 days, resurrected. Except for they work out a deal which is akin to Hades and Persephone. But again, I want you to read that for yourself. So, what to take away from all of this is not that this is teaching us to seek the truth. If there's anything to seek the truth on, it would be on Ereshkigal's side, not Ishtar's side. The death of her husband. Who did this? I demand justice. So if anybody is seeking the truth, it would be Ereshkigal. And this has nothing to do with complacency or docility. Now, depending on, how you look at it, you can look at the descent of Inanna as enlightenment of the self. Doing shadow work. But on the other hand, you can look at it as actions and consequences. What we do affects this. So, that's all I'm really going to say. If you want to look into this more, I highly recommend the Epic of Gilgamesh. Just type in the Descent of Inanna or Ishtar. Descent is the same thing. You're just going to come up with like a whole bunch of versions. And ultimately, don't deprive yourself of being entertained and gain knowledge. Because this, it's one of the things that keeps humanity afloat is learning from the myths and tales of what once was. So, with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. If you want to come find me, my links are in the description. And with that, I will see you later. I love you all.